Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. My name, of course, is Open Potato. How are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. Pretty darned good, actually. Pretty darn good. If you'll recall, in the last episode, we did have a slight problem. Actually, why am I dropping frames? Let me just quickly save the game right here. Okay, and that usually seems to do it. Yep, we're back up to 60. Awesome. As I was saying, in the last episode, we did have a slight problem because we're kind of out of stone, I hate to say. So it looks like we're gonna have to replicate our stone because we're not really in a position to ship it in from somewhere else because we don't really have. We haven't actually researched railroads yet, and that's not something that I'm interested in doing quite yet. And there's not really another stone patch around that is large enough to feed the demand of our factory. So, you know, for the sake of consistency, I think it would be a wise idea if we dealt with the demand for stone using electric replicators, which I think, you know, is fair game. I'm just going to save again here. Sorry about this. There we go. There we go. That's us back up to 60. Yeah, let's create some more of these things. Replication lab. What the hell is that? I'd like to try making it. What's the difference between a replication lab and an electric replicator? Huh. I don't know. Let's try and figure it out. Let me guess. We need some more iron in here. I'll stick a little bit in, but I don't have much. Sorry about that. A replication lab. Yeah, let's try and make a replication lab. Oh my goodness. I think, actually, somewhere there's some tech that can only be researched in a replication lab. I don't know what on earth we would want to try and research, but I guess we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, I guess we need an electric replicator. Of course we need electric replicators. However, we can research. Have we not researched replication 2? I thought we had. There was. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. 100 rare earth magnets and in fact do we research that in a replication lab? I think we might actually. Let's give that a shot. Where is it? Here we go. Let's try and do that. So that goes in there. Stick some magnets in. Oh, what do you know? So we've got two types of labs. We've got two tiers of labs that we can deal with. So I guess we probably want to push towards this, I suppose. Well, that changes the dynamic a lot. I didn't realize that we'd have to cater for two sets of labs. That is potentially very interesting, actually. I mean, how many? It requires 100 sets of those things. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. Okay. But you know what? We've got a lot of rare earth and a lot of rare earth magnets anyway, so we can afford to go big. I think 10 labs will be enough. More than enough for now, I feel. That'll do. You know, that'll do. Okay, let's stick that there, that there, that there, and that there. Perfect. And we need some transport belt, as we always do. And that can go there. Perfect. Just like that. And then we'll need some power. Fantastic. And I think probably we're just going to do the magnets manually. I feel that's probably the best way of doing things. It's only 8 magnets in there, but whatever. We need iron. If we get iron, the problem is that iron is a bit far removed from this area, so it's not like we can, you know, automate the process of manufacturing those magnets automatically. Okay, we should have a truck ton of iron. Yeah, we do have a lot of iron now, so hopefully we can stick those magnets in manually, and we'll just keep doing that. But I don't really see a need to. I don't really need to see a need to bump it up anymore. Okay. Well, actually, let's think about this. Let's think about how we could. We don't actually need this belt here, but whatever. We'll take it away. Let's think about doing this automatically. I quite like doing things automatically, as you can probably tell. Okay, so that goes there. And then we need 2 splitters, but splitters we need iron for anyway, so I'll take 100 iron. In fact, we'll need 3 splitters. Okay, that goes there. That goes there, and that goes there. I don't think it's enough, actually. We need to move it further back, and I don't really want to do that, but... In fact, you know what, we could, screw it. Let's, you know what they say, go big or go home. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. Okay, that goes there. That does not go there. That goes there. That transport belt goes there. That goes there. That goes there. And that goes there. We'll pick you up, and you actually can quite comfortably sit right in there with your ton of iron. I'll take 100. And that means that all we need to do is go along here. It doesn't really work the way I want it to, if I'm honest. Okay, that goes there, and then... No, we want to individually feed all of these factories so they all get the same amount. I know it's not the end of the world if these two don't get the right amount, but at the same time it would be nicer if it did work out like that. I don't think there's really a way to do it. I suppose doing it like that is probably the best way. Yeah, I suppose that's we'll have double sides. We'll have the magnets on both sides, so really won't make that much of a difference in the long run, because we'll be putting double on these sides of the belt, or we'll be putting double the amount of magnets on this belt than we will on these 2 belts anyway, so that's fine. Crisis averted. There we go, and a little small electric pole for you, my friend. There we go, perfect. And let's make you a fasten-sir, for goodness sake. Today, please. There we go. Beautiful. It's working. It's actually working. However, doesn't look like you're mining up resources fast enough, unfortunately. Well, just so happens that I've got a lot of excess mines that I can splash out in this location. Okay, that can go there. That can go there. In fact, screw it. Let's not buffer here anymore. We don't really need to worry about buffering anyway. I mean, the amount of rare earth that actually comes out is pretty insubstantial anyway, so we don't really need to worry about it too much. Okay, and then we'll just stick a big pole over there, because why the hell not? Okay, great. That's looking pretty fancy. I'm not entirely sure how long it's going to last, but seems to be doing okay for now. Why is replication 2 not coming along? Are we short on power? No. What's the problem then? I don't see the problem. What? Oh, does it require... Ah, yes, it's 2 magnets. That makes sense. That does make sense indeed, actually. I see why it's slowed down. And we'll take the magnets out of here and we'll stick them into... Oh, yeah. That's great. It works. It should work, anyway. A problem that I see happening, actually, is that the magnet factory will just gobble up all of the rare earth. We don't want that to happen, so we're going to put a basic inserter there instead, so that works a bit better. Fantastic. Okay, and yeah, we should be producing magnets for a long time to come, which is pretty exciting, actually, and we should be able to research whatever it is that we need to research in these little labs. Replication 3. We need superconductors and rare earth magnets. Well, what do superconductors actually cost to make, because that might be more achievable than we think. Steel and rare earth magnets, not something I'm really interested in at the moment. So obviously energy consumption is a lot more in this one. A lot more in this one than it is in this one. Photonic replicator. Let's build one just to see what it is actually. It's still small, which is nice. And I presume it's faster. I presume it is faster. And well, let's give it a shot actually, because we actually need stone over here. Photonic replicator. It seems a lot faster. Okay, there we go. And there. That's good, that's good. We're producing a lot more stone. However, I feel that our power might be a little bit of an issue. Replication labs. One photonic replicator is 787 kilowatts. Whereas 25 electric replicators are only 4.1 megawatts. So there's quite a big disparity there, but, you know, honestly, it doesn't make that much of a difference. We're doing, that's not too bad actually. That's a-okay. And that might actually single-handedly stop our stone cold ironic, our stone cold stone shortage. Hopefully. I doubt it though. But honestly, a stone shortage really doesn't bother me. I mean, look at the amount of red flasks that we've got on us. Quite frankly, if we don't get stone for the next like 10 episodes, I think would still be fine for the amount of red flasks that we've got stored. Belt, also we've got a ton of belt. I don't think we need to be worried about the amount of belt that we've got. You know, we've got a lot of belt stored, so we can we can weather some pretty bad times anyway. That doesn't really, I don't really see that as a problem. So stone is not really on the agenda to fix all that soon. Iron is definitely piling up, which is nice to see. That's good. It is indeed good to see. Everything is going remarkably well, actually. That's quite exciting. Is there any other research that we can do that is interesting? Lab efficiency 2. It's not interesting, but it allows us to sort of get to grips with what's actually going on. We also want to start thinking about these other materials that are just dotted around. And, you know, think about processing them, for example. I think that would be really, really cool. Also, fluid handling. Fluid handling is something that's going to have to come along. It's something that we're going to have to think about doing fairly soon. A charger. What is a charger? I feel a charger goes with a mining drill. I feel it does. 10 batteries, 10 basic circuits, 5 steel plates, sorry, and 3 copper cable. Interesting. In fact, what we need to do is think about steel production. Where are we going to produce steel? I don't want to produce it right over here, because that's where extra iron production is going to be. I don't want to produce it on top of these resources, because there's a crude oil, you know, thing right there, and then there's all of this silver ore over here. But what about down here? I mean, 3 lines of furnaces perhaps? That could be very effective. Okay, let's give that a shot actually. So we want to output, not like that, come on, what are you thinking? We want to output, well actually, let's move it down a bit. In fact, let's plan this out properly. Okay, so copper is going to come down here. Copper there. How far does it stretch? Stretch to there. That's okay. And then stone is going to come underground. Come on. Okay, so stone is going to come underground from here. Not there. Right over here. To here. Okay, that's fine. So effectively what we need to do is we need to get a nice short bit of underground belt and stick that underground here to there. Great. So that works. And then we get a good old splitter, and we split off the iron there, and then, in fact, do we split it off there? Do we split it off there? Where do we want to split it off? I don't really know actually. What I do want to do is I want to have the steel belt go down this side. Why? I don't know. I just want to. So potentially what we can do is we can have that there, and then we can have a nice short bit of underground belt that goes from there to there, and then I know it does a corner, whatever, it doesn't matter. It does something like that. There's probably a way that we can make that a little bit shorter. There we go. Beautiful. That should work. And then all we need to do is place some of these amazing furnaces around. Are we going to want to buffer steel? The answer to that is quite clearly yes. Air compressors. I don't know what this stuff does. Chemical processing and electrolysis. Let's hold off on that for now, I think. Stone walls. Yeah, let's get stone walls. See how long that takes us. Not very long at all, my bet would be. How long? Yeah, thank you. How long would it take to buffer? Or what's the distance required that it would take to buffer? That's not at all how you buffer. What am I talking about? So that, like that, and like that. So something along those lines. Okay, let's move this back here. Alright, move this back there. Move this back there. Okay. How are we going to go about doing this? Where do we split the iron off? So I'd presume we just, yeah, fill this area with furnaces. And then we have some more inserters on this side. Beautiful, just like that. And we have some more trusty belt going down the middle. And then we have more furnaces on this side. Oh, that fits perfectly, actually. Lovely. There. I guess that's how it's going to be. And then we still want to buffer it this side as well, so I know it must take a lot of energy to run these inserters, actually. But hey ho, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, that goes there, and of course we're gonna have to manufacture, you know, like tons and tons more chests to actually be the buffer point. But that's okay, because we can do that. And buffering is your best friend in this game anyway. And you know, who doesn't want to buffer steel? Buffering steel is pretty darned important. And you know, eventually, as we progress through the game, we're just gonna have whole chests that are buffered. And that is, you know, that is pretty ideal, because then we'll have stuff left on the belt, and we'll have buffered, you know, in all these chests. So it means we've got, you know, built-in redundancy for the cost of pretty much nothing. An extra couple of inserters. That's what it is, really, in effect. Okay, so that goes there, and we want to put some nice underground belt in there. That'll do, and we want some more underground belt. And that can go from there to there as well, just for the sake of consistency. And that can go there. Join up. Yeah, I know there's no stone coming down at the moment, but that's because stone is not connected up here. Yeah, and we don't have any stone coming in anyway. And when I say we don't have any stone, I mean we don't have a lot of stone coming in. So that makes sense. Okay, let's can't get through there. I keep forgetting I can't get through that little gap between the furnaces. Okay, join that up there. Perfect. And this can come down here as well. How are we going to go about doing this? Don't really know, to be honest. Don't really know, but at least it makes a use for this space, which is quite nice, actually. Let's just join that straight up. And you'll be like, what? What is going on? You can't do that. And I'll say, yeah, we totally can. Build a third one. That there, and that there. Great. And that means it looks pretty cool. Well, in my opinion anyway. Look at this. We've got pretty much 4 basic resources that are coming down next to each other. That looks pretty awesome in my opinion anyway. Let's build some more medium electric poles so that we can actually reach more of these things. I'll go there. In fact, we can cover this whole area with just 4 poles. Oh my goodness. That is why these things are amazing. 4 poles, that's it. That's crazy. And then a 5th one to connect them. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And that's working. It is working remarkably well. I presume we're having power difficulties, but we're not actually. That's great. That's really nice to see. Although we might be having power difficulties soon. Oh well, no matter. But yeah, as you can see, we've now got we've now got steel on both sides, we've got iron on both sides, and we've got copper on both sides, and stone on both sides. So eventually all of this steel is going to buffer and whatever, and that's just going to be great. So we're really future-proofing the factory, and should we need to do another block of steel processing, which I think we would definitely need to do, we're probably going to stick another block over here and then probably another one over here. So we're really going to have a lot of steel processing. So there's wait, what is this? This is ardite ore. There's 2,235. Well, I'm actually going to quickly just set up a... How do I mine this? You need a better tool to mine this. Wow. That's pretty harsh. Well, can we use a steel axe? Will that work? I would guess not. Oh, it does actually. Takes a long ass time, but whatever. Can we use a burner mining drill? Nope, we can't. Can we use an electric mining drill? Well, let's go and collect up some irony. Okay, and whoa, we messed up the entire system there. There, okay, fixed it. Build an electric mining drill just to see how we can get this out. Are we going to need to do it with the mining drill? We might actually, because that worries me, because I don't know how to use that. Oh no, it does look like we can use this. That's great. I'm actually going to set this to mine, just so we can get rid of it. Irregardless of if it's useful or not, I still want to get rid of it. So, in fact, you know what? Let's go bigger than that. Let's go for a steel chest, because we're gonna have to store a lot of resources in there. So. Better safe than sorry, and then that can go there, and that can go there. Okay, so hopefully stick that there. We can crack through these resources right now, and it means that we can actually get rid of it. So we can build something useful on top of here, should we ever need to. Same goes for this. I mean, we might start mining this up eventually. Crystal formation. This coal I won't mind building over, because we've got access to coal, and coal's unlimited anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.